I'm joined now by Trevor MacMillan. He's the Director of Scientific and Business Development with FluroTech. Trevor, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Trevor, you just delivered a machine to me that is, by any stretch of the imagination, a miracle, a marvel, a wonder. It tests for cannabinoids and heavy metals in cannabis products down to parts per billion. And give me an overview of the science behind it and how you guys came up with this idea.
Okay. The technology originated with Dr. Prenner. He's a professor at the University of Calgary, and he's been developing this over the last several years, and the technology has now been applied to cannabis testing. So this is a difficult term to say. It's a right.
You can just keep
going. So it's a fluorometer.
Fluorometer.
Yep.
Spectroscopic.
I can't say it on camera.
Right. Okay. Fluorometer.
It's a spectral photometric assay that uses fluorescence. So it's a
spectrophotometric assay.
Right.
Interesting. Okay. I think we know what that means.
Okay. Well, I'll describe what it is
okay.
now. Yeah, despite the label. So it uses fluorescence. Mm-hmm. The equipment uses light. The light goes into the sample. If the analyte, so the cannabinoid or the heavy metal we're trying to measure, is bound to the dye will be excited by the light and release a photon. So we measure the light coming out of the sample with the detector in the machine, and that allows us to quantify either the cannabinoids or the heavy metals.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this device is designed for use by LPs who want to measure the content of their cannabinoids mm-hmm. or their cannabis products before it leaves the building or during growth. What's the thinking there?
Okay, yeah, it's designed for licensed producers, cultivators, dispensaries, extractors, or anybody in the cannabis industry interested in measuring heavy metals or cannabinoids.
Mm-hmm. Is this something that the police might use as a roadside testing device?
No, we are actually developing an alternative technology that will be released in the future to look at human testing. Mm-hmm. This is an in-process testing device, so cultivators will use it to select mother plants for breeding or cultivation, or they can use it to optimize the cannabinoid concentration in their crops at the time of harvest to maximize the value of their crop.
Mm-hmm. What other methodologies exist out there for determining the cannabinoid content currently?
Okay, the industry standard right now is HPLC, so that's high pressure liquid chromatography, and it uses a mobile phase that will contain the sample and the cannabinoids, and as the mobile phase moves through a tube with a stationary phase, it separates out those components in the sample into their individual units that are measured by a detector and quantified.
Mm-hmm. Okay, is that more expensive than your device? Does it take more time? Is it more complicated?
All of the above, yes. HPLC is about $100,000. It's not portable.
$100,000 per test?
To buy the entire instrument.
Oh, okay. Right. And your unit retails for?
The total complete package is valued at $31,000 right now.
Okay, so it makes it 1/3 cheaper.
Right.
How much faster is it?
Well, it's a lot faster. You can get your results in minutes as opposed to days or weeks when you send your samples to the laboratory.
Mm-hmm. And which heavy metals can you test for?
We can test for mercury, cadmium, and lead. And
in your experience, how frequently are those elements found in cannabis products in Canada?
Currently, they would not be found in any of the medical cannabis sold right now because Health Canada mandates that every licensed producer have their cannabis tested to meet specific quality control specifications before it can be sold. So you wouldn't find heavy metals in your cannabis right now.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm a LP, I'm going to select mother plants based on the results of which produces higher concentrations of CBDs or THC. That's That's one use. Are there other applications for this machine? Like, for example, can I test for pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, other elements?
We're addressing market concerns first, and those are measuring cannabinoids and heavy metals. Future tests that we are developing for the equipment will be aflatoxin testing for molds and pesticides.
Okay, great. If there was for example, if I wanted to test for other elements on a customized basis, is that something that we could engage with FluroTech and you could say, yes, we can solve that issue if was needed down the road?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Our technology is versatile enough. We can develop probes or dyes to bind to specific chemicals or of interest. So yeah, we could eventually develop specific assays for either cannabinoids or specific terpenes or specific pesticides, things of that nature.
So is there, in terms of the realm of roadside testing, we've heard that there's a Dravec machine currently on the market that has not been able to deliver results sufficiently consistent to obtain convictions in courts of law, and so therefore it's not really that usable. Will your system be better than that?
Absolutely. We're designing it to meet the Drug and Driving Committee's regulations, and so it'll be a saliva-based test that will be able to test either THC, cocaine, or methamphetamine. So we're building it for the law enforcement agency as well as industrial human testing for employers that have safety-sensitive type jobs that they want to ensure that their employees are meeting the criteria for.
Okay, that's great, Trevor. We're going to leave it there for now. Thank you for joining me today.
Okay, thanks, James.